All right, Dr. Webb, so let's talk a little bit about the eating and pooping cycles and what you're looking for, what's good, what's not good, how much you should feed your baby or not feed your baby, and all that kind of stuff.
When the babies are born, we're a little bit more strict about feeding schedules in the first month or so, and after that maybe a little bit more relaxed. So babies need to be fed anywhere between 2 and 3 hours in a full 24-hour period initially. So the babies will lose a little bit of weight, they'll drop down maybe 10 or 11%, they'll come back up. Most babies will come back to their birth weight around 2 weeks of life.
Okay, let me back up. So you said 2 to 3 hours per 24 hours. So that's 2 to 3 hours of feeding time.
So
like 20 minutes here, 30 minutes there, blah, blah, blah. So you're a total of 2 to 3 hours per 24 hours.
You want to try to wake the baby up if they're sleeping longer than a 3-hour period. So once the baby latches on and feeds, usually after about 15 or 20 minutes, they are going to have gotten pretty much all that they need, every baby being a little bit different. But once the babies are latched on past 30 minutes, they're getting 45 minutes or an hour, at that point it's just going to be problems for mom more so than anything, because the baby's pacifying himself and then mom's getting some skin breakdown, which then making her be painful, and then that makes the feeding more difficult.
Got it.
So the babies have been with mom for the past 9 months, against them, held on to them, and where they want to be most comforting wise is against mom.
Got it.
So trying to feed every 3 hours is the important side, because we want to make sure those babies that are developing so fast are gaining their weight back.
Right.
Once they get up to their birth weight and a little bit of baby fat on them, at that point if they want to stretch out just a little bit longer at night and everybody get a little bit more sleep, it's okay. But most babies don't sleep through the night, certainly not in the first few months of life. Right. And we don't necessarily want them to as well.
Right. Okay. And then how does that play? Okay, well, let me take another step back. Every 3 hours, is that from the time you start feeding, or is that you fed for 30 minutes and then 30 minutes, and then 3 hours after the feeding? How do you schedule that?
Yeah, so I start the clock after they finished eating, and at that point it's 3 hours from when they finished eating. And like I said, trying just to keep on that schedule. Early on is the important part because of that weight gain that we're looking for. Usually once you get them on about a 3-hour schedule, they will get you on their 3-hour schedule. So usually after about 2 weeks, the babies got you on their schedule as far as what they need, and routines are now slowly getting set up. But as I joke about it all day long, as soon as you feel like you know the routine, those babies are going to change it on you.
Right. Cool. And how does that go into playing with bathroom cycles and things like that?
So one of the things I tell a lot of my parents is that you'll never talk about poop so much in your life as you will for the next 4 to 6 years. When the babies are born, they're going to pass the first type of bowel movement, which is called meconium. And it's the thick, black, tarry bowel movement, and it gets everywhere, and that's good. It just means that the GI tract is working, and that's what we're looking for. As the babies are feeding, over the next 3 days, you're going to start to see a transitional poop. So we're going to go from the black tarry stuff to usually a brown, dark green look to it. And then finally what we'll end up is getting more towards a yellow, seedy looking poop. And that's what everybody talks about. And usually by the end of the first week, you're going to be seeing that yellow, seedy poop.
It gets everywhere.
It does. And breastfed babies in general may poop after every feeding. So breast milk is a natural laxative. So as the babies are feeding, they may be filling up a diaper at the same time. Once again, as you get into a good routine, what may end up happening is that the babies will skip a day, and then they'll make up for it all in the next day. In fact, it's normal for breastfed babies to feed throughout the day, and then those poops go from every feeding to once every 4 days even. So we get a lot of phone calls from parents concerned that they've missed a day, or they've even dropped down to once a day, where breastfed babies, they're so efficient with utilizing all of the breast milk that they just may go 3 or 4 days, and then they have a big blowout and have 3 or 4 in one day and make up for all of the time missed.
Crazy. Interesting stuff. Cool.
I was going to say, so one of the main things that, as a new parent, what you're looking at is that initial black color is normal. Go into that transitional dark green, black look is normal. Any kind of bright red blood look to it is not normal, so you want to talk to your pediatrician about that. A lot of times those poops can be a neon green, which I get calls for, which again is very normal. The bacteria in the gut is developing, and sometimes will, as it develops, it may color the poop to be a neon green.
Right, so browns, greens, and yellows are okay.
We just don't want to see red, and either bright red or rusty looking red.
Rusty red. Good one. Nice. I like it.